Are you someone who studies for hours but still feel like you don't get the grades you deserve? In this video, I'll be talking about what exactly separates A-star students from failing students. And take it from someone who's been on both sides of the spectrum, the techniques that I share in this video will help transform and supercharge your learning. With tip number 7 being the one that is the most effective in the shortest amount of time. So the first bad study habit that you probably do is that you multitask. So immediately, here are 5 reasons on the screen now why multitasking is bad and you shouldn't do it. Multitasking is terrible for all sorts of reasons, but the number one reason is spending all your energy and all your time on 5 tasks is going to mean all 5 of those tasks have been completed at a lower quality than if you spend all your time and energy on just one.
Hi, my name is Carla Shaw. You can stop at 5 or 6 stores or just one. I don't need friends, they disappoint me.
So the next time you have loads of things to do, what I want you guys to do is order them in number of priority. The one that is due first, you're probably going to want to get done first. And what you're going to see is if you actually just spend all your time on that single task, you'll be much quicker, you'll have better concentration, and in the end, your memory will be better. So if in case you are revising for a test, you'll end up actually remembering more than if you're revising for that test, doing that teacher's homework, and also doing some sort of quiz practice. The second bad study habit is one that I'm very guilty of in year 7, and is highlighting. Highlighting is great, sure, add color to your page, make it look pretty, make it look neat. But when you over-highlight stuff and you end up highlighting the entire sentence, you're not going to remember any of that, and there's absolutely no point. So if you're someone who does this, then you might want to lay off those highlighters and instead switch to more efficient note-taking or underlining just key words, not key sentences, just the words that you need to remember. For the third bad study habit, I've brought you guys over here to show you exactly what it is. So if you haven't guessed by now, the third bad study habit that you can change the quickest is your study environment. So you can see my room is slightly messy right now, but already I feel disorganized, unproductive, and unmotivated. And for me, what works is if I spend at least 10 minutes cleaning up my room and sorting things out, already I'll feel more productive, more motivated, and much more efficient at working. I'll have better concentration. So your study environment is something you can fix super quickly. If it's really messy or really loud, what I suggest you do is either you clean up the room or you invest in a good pair of headphones just to block out the noise. If the room is really cramped and there's loads of people in it, then maybe move down to your dining table or somewhere else that works for you, or go out into a library, a coffee shop. There are so many different places you can go study that will help you if you feel like your room is not the best environment. Another thing you're probably doing wrong is that you're memorizing and not understanding, and this is the fourth bad study habit that can sometimes make or break people. If you were to ask me, year 12 me, how I was studying and whether I was understanding anything, I would say, sure, everything makes so much sense, but in reality, I was literally just memorizing my notes, and half the time after tests, that information would fly out my brain and I'd never remember it again until the end of years or the mocks. And instead, what you guys want to do is you want to be able to retain that information long term. You don't want to forget it the moment you do the test, because that's not going to help anyone when it comes to long-term revision. Like I said, end of years or even actual A-levels, where you actually need to recall stuff. You don't want to go back and just re-study all over again. So instead, you want to try and memorize then understand instead of just memorize from the get-go. So I'll give you an example. In year 13, in biology, we learn about something called the Krebs cycle. The Krebs cycle is a thing to do with respiration, and I'll pop a picture up here so you guys can see how it looks. So in this example, I'll give you 2 ways that I could have studied this and the one that I used that made it more effective. So the first way I could have studied it is by looking at all the stages, memorizing them, writing them down, and knowing them. Great, I know what the stages are, absolutely amazing, but how will I apply them? But the second thing that I did that helped me in my test and to actually understand and write down and apply the information is I memorized the stages, wrote them down, did blurting, but then I watched a Miss Estrich video on it, and she helped me actually understand what was going on in the stages instead of just memorizing them and then when I went on to do my test, the questions that came up were related to the Krebs cycle, but because I had actually understood how it worked, I was able to explain instead of just write down the stages and have no idea what to say after that. And yeah, it may seem obvious, just memorizing stuff isn't ever going to help you understand it. And that is the fourth thing that you guys can actually fix super quickly. So if you're doing a topic right now and you have absolutely no idea what's happening, what I want you guys to do is find a video online that relates to your specification and the topic that you're struggling on, and sit down, watch the video, make some notes, and hopefully after the end of that video, you'll actually understand what's going on. So the next thing that you're probably doing wrong, which is why we're going to use the big screen over there, is your lack of goal setting. Short term, long term, mid term, whatever. Everyone says set goals, and then when you achieve those goals, tick them off. But the difference in this video is that I'm going to explain to you how to set effective goals that you'll actually hit, and after you hit them you'll feel much more productive and you'll actually end up changing your study method. So here is how I do my goal setting. First, I write down my initial goal. Here it is, get 80% on my next test. I know that can sound super vague, but I don't want to specify just to make it a bit broader for you guys. But let's say this is a biology test. I think about what I did. So last time I did flashcards for 2 days and it was semi-effective. So this time I want to do them for 3 days and then space them out. And then the next thing I want to do is watch a YouTube channel video from a channel I watch normally for biology, like Miss Estrich, let's say, and relearn the content. The next thing I want to do is spend 3 days worth of past paper questions and do 3 days worth of them. And then fourth thing is to spend the morning relaxing and doing something completely different to take my mind off the test. How I did this was first I wrote down the goal and then I wrote down 4 to 5 steps for how I achieve it. And normally if you follow this method for goal setting, you'll be able to do it much quicker and actually achieve all your goals. So I'm going to make an assumption right now. If you're watching this video, maybe you're procrastinating on your own work, and going further, maybe you even have a test coming up very soon and you don't really want to revise for it. Instead, what you're probably going to end up doing is spend the last possible day trying to memorize all the information that can possibly come out of this textbook and try and hopefully magically pray that it goes into your head and somehow you remember it and you can write it down in the test and give correct answers, get full marks, and do fine. Well, spoiler alert, that is not going to help. Every student ever has probably crammed at some point in their life. Instead of cramming, what I want you guys to do is set out how many days you have from the day your test gets announced. So I'll give you another example. Let's say I have a psychology test coming up in 7 days. I have 1 topic's worth of information to learn. Sure, that seems like loads of time, but in that 7 days, I also get homeworks, I get quizzes, I get worksheets, I get finish this question or finish these notes. And what I do in this scenario is spend 1 hour every single day for those 7 days before the test, revising and learning the information. That is going to help you massively more than revising 7 hours on the last day and getting absolutely no information into your brain. So the absolute summary of everything I've just said is cramming bad, space repetition good. And we're on tip number 7, the absolute most vital technique in this entire video that if you guys implement, you'll see results ASAP. And tip number 7 is, drumroll please, past paper question. In case you didn't see that coming, I have talked about past paper questions a lot on this channel and my old channel, and they're the absolute holy grail of what you have to do to get good results. Every A-star student ever that you have ever talked to has probably done a past paper question at some point in their life, or not even one, does loads of past paper questions, as many as they can daily, and ends up getting those A-stars that you guys want. So there are 2 types of students, those who do past paper questions or those who don't. The ones who do will end up inevitably getting the better results, and the ones who don't will obviously get the worst one. But it's not as simple as just that. There is also another subsection in doing past paper questions. Maybe you already do them, but you don't effectively do them. And what I mean by that, there's one type of thing where you just do past paper questions and you read and look at the mark scheme and see where you went wrong. Great, you went wrong. Then you redo the question and do it again. But the type of past paper questions and the technique that I'm talking about is using and finding all the mistakes, writing them down and using it to your advantage. So in the end, I really hope you found this video useful, and it might have seemed a bit convoluted, the amount of things I was talking about. But even if you take away one thing from this video, you'll end up absolutely changing the way you study. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and if you did enjoy the video, please like, share, comment and subscribe. And in case you want to see how my after school routine is like and whether it's as productive as you think it is, then click on this video here for more. And I'll see you next week for a brand new video. Bye for now.